Let's learn about literal equations. If we take a look at the name, it looks like a literal equation is a type of equation. And that's right. Now, an equation identifies a relationship between the left and right-hand sides of the equal sign. Now, to help us see a literal equation, let's go ahead and explore some equations. So let's write a few equations down. Let's say we have this: x plus 8 equals 12. This is an example of an equation. We have the left and a right-hand side of the equal sign. Here we're saying that x plus 8 is equal to, or the same as, 12. We're saying that the left side is the same as the right side. Now, we can also have something like this: 7x equals 21. Here we're saying that 7x is the same as that right side 21. Or we could even have an equation like this: y over 2 plus 5 equals 7. This is another example of an equation. Now, all of these are typical equations that you might see. But there are also some other equations that you might see as well. Let's take a look at those. Let's say we have 3x plus 2y equals z. Here we see we do have an equation, but it's a little bit different from the ones we just saw. Notice, this equation has three variables: x, y, and z. All of these equations only had one variable. Now, what if we had an equation like this: d equals r times t? This is another equation. But notice, this one just has variables. Three variables, and no numbers. Or what if we had something like this: a equals 1/2 times b times h? Here again, we have more than one variable. Now, each of these equations that has more than one variable gets a special name. These equations are called literal equations. A literal equation is an equation that has more than one variable. So, each of these equations that has more than one variable is called a literal equation. Now, to help us gain a little better understanding of these literal equations, let's go ahead and take a look at some more examples. The most common type of literal equation is a formula. So let's look at some of those. Here we have A equals L times W. We can see this is an equation where the left and right-hand sides are equal. And we have more than one variable: A, L, and W. So this is a literal equation. This is actually the formula for the area of a rectangle. In this formula, A stands for the area, L stands for the length, and W stands for the width. Now, usually with formulas, we're given values for some of the variables and we need to solve for the unknown variable. So say here we were given the area and the width, but we were missing the length. Well, in that case, we could plug in the values for the variables that we had and then solve for the unknown variable, like L. Neat. Now, we can also have one like this: I equals PRT. This is a literal equation. It's the formula for interest. I is interest, P is the initial amount that we invest, R is the rate, and T is time. Or we could even have a literal equation like this: P equals 2L plus 2W. This is the formula for the perimeter of a rectangle. P is the perimeter, L is the length, and W is the width. Now, we can also have literal equations that look like this: y equals mx plus b. This is a literal equation. It's actually the slope-intercept form for a line. Neat. Or we could also have one like this: ax plus by equals c. Another literal equation. This one is the standard form for a line. So now we know more about literal equations. If you have an equation that has more than one variable, you are looking at a literal equation.